हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome you all back to the second day of part 3 of this course, Rediscovering Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So for the last few days we have been discussing from the second wave of the eastern section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, and we have been discussing about the angas of bhakti, or the limbs of devotional service, the 64 limbs that Srila Rupa Goswami talks about in this book. So in which we have already discussed the first 8 limbs, first 5 of which discuss about one's relationship with the Guru. First is Adav Guru Padashraya, accepting the shelter of a Guru. Shri Krishna Dikshadi Sikshanam, accepting the Diksha and Shiksha from the Guru. Then comes Vishrambena Guru or Seva, serving the Guru with reverence and love. Sadhu Vartma Anuvartanam, following the scriptural rules as guided by the Guru. Sadharma Pracha, inquiring into the subject matter of bhakti from the Guru. So in this way the first 5 limbs are connected to the Guru. Then Krishnarte Bhogadityaga, Bhogadityaga Krishnasya Hetave, willingness to give up the opportunity for sense enjoyment so that that time, energy and resources can be utilized in Krishna's service for the pleasure of Krishna. Dwaraka Nivaso Gangadava Dwarakadav api Sannidhav. Residence in a holy place, desiring to live in a holy place or in the banks of a holy river. Yavad Artha Anuvartita, living only with minimal material needs, accepting only that which is needed for keeping the body and soul together. So last few days we have completed these 8 limbs. So of the 64 limbs, the first 20 limbs, as we saw, are called the door to bhakti, which are very essential limbs. One needs to incorporate them in their daily lifestyle so that one can get into the right mood of practicing bhakti. So of which we have completed 8. So we will complete 12 more and then move on to the other limbs till we reach the last 5 limbs, which are the most potent limbs. So for the next few days we will be discussing on these 64 limbs before we move on to the last few topics regarding this section on Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So the next limb, the 9th limb that we will be discussing is Harivasara Sammano. So Harivasara Sammano means respecting the day of the Lord. Any day which is connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we respect that day. And Srila Rupa Goswami quotes a verse from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. He says, Sarva Papa Prashamanam Punyam Atyantikam Tata Govinda Smaranam Nrinam Ekadasyam Uposhanam. Ekadasyam Uposhanam. When we fast on the day of Ekadashi, it gives 3 benefits. What are the 3 benefits of following Ekadashi Vrata? He says, Sarva Papa Prashamanam. It destroys all the sins. Punyam Atyantikam Tata, and one gains abundant pious credits. Govinda Smaranam, and one gets remembrance of Lord Govinda. So these are the 3 benefits of practicing Ekadashi Vrata. So now one may say, oh, actually I am trying to practice bhakti in order to please Krishna, and if by practicing bhakti or by practicing Ekadashi Vrata, if I get punya, then I will have to repeatedly take birth again to dissolve that punya. So, but this verse says that by, but I don't want to take repeated births. I thought that by practicing Krishna consciousness, in maximum 2 or 3 births, I can go back home, back to Godhead. But if I keep on accumulating punya by practicing Ekadashi, then will I stay back here in this material world eternally till I continue to practice Ekadashi? So now the point is that one should understand that these kind of falashrutis are verses which indicate the glories of chanting the holy name or following the Ekadashi Vrata, or maybe even in Bhagavatam, if you see, after every episode of Bhagavatam, more or less, there are a few falashrutis. Oh, if you have heard this episode of Dhruva Maharaj with lot of faith, then you can get this benefit, this benefit, this benefit. Sometimes these benefits are actually material benefits. So now the point is, why does a literature like Bhagavatam specify material benefits? And does it apply to the devotees also? So generally, Bhagavatam or any other literature for that matter ultimately needs to be attractive for those who may not have the most purest of pure desires, that is to please Krishna. Someone may have some material desires, so how can you attract them to the subject matter of Bhagavatam? Only through these kind of falashrutis. But after attracting them towards the subject matter of Bhagavatam through these falashrutis, they will automatically get attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna. Not that they will not get the other benefits, they may get also if their desires do not change. But once their desire changes, it will give them according to the changed desire. So therefore, these kind of falashrutis which are mentioned, one gets that phala according to his adhikar, according to his qualification, according to his nishta. Now, if a person who is a sakama karma yogi, so sakama karma yogi means who performs his varnashram duties with a desire for accumulating some punya, and by accumulating that punya, he can utilize that punya for material enjoyment, either in this world or in Swarga. So now, such a person may not be very excited by telling that, if he hears that by following Ekadashi Vrata you will get remembrance of Krishna, Govinda Smaranam. So that will not attract him. So therefore here he says, Punyam Atyantikam and Sarvapapa Prashamanam. So these two are very attractive to the karma yogis. They want to destroy all their karma and they want to accumulate lot of piety. So when such people follow Ekadashi Vrata, they will get these benefits apart from getting some sukriti towards pure devotional service also. But when devotees perform Ekadashi, they get only one benefit, Govinda Smaranam. They will not get pious credit, so they don't have to worry, oh, should I practice Ekadashi, because if I get piety then I'll have to take repeated births to destroy that piety. One need not worry in that direction. Definitely fasting on an Ekadashi being a very important limb of devotional service will not give anything other than remembrance of Krishna and will help one progress towards Krishna. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Krishna Vasati Vasati Boli Parama Adare Bori. So this is from the bhajan Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So in this bhajan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, what are the things which are very favorable for one progress in devotional service. So this is from the book Sharanagati. So in Sharanagati, the 6 limbs of Sharanagati, Anukulyasya Sankalpo Pratikulyasya Varjanam, Rakshati iti Vishwaso Goptritve Varanam Tata, Dainya and Atmanikshepa or Atmanivedanam. So on these 6 limbs of devotional service, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written many bhajans, and one of the bhajans that he has written for this theme of Anukulyasya Sankalpo, accepting whatever is favorable for devotional service, he has written about one of the limbs that he says is Madhava Titi Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori. I observe days such as Ekadashi, which are connected, which are very dear to Krishna, with great care and attention. Why? Because Bhakti Janani, she acts as the mother of devotion. So this is why we practice Ekadashi. Otherwise, many times during even devotees speak about or spread, send WhatsApp messages of what are the benefits of practicing this Ekadashi, from the Ekadashi Mahatmya. And there are many material benefits that are given, and it is quoted from a bona fide Shastra only. It is not made up. But these kind of, you do this Ekadashi, you will get Putra, and you do Shattila Ekadashi, and you will get some material benefits and all these things. And within devotees circles also, devotees spread this message around. So, but one should understand that not every verse in a particular literature is meant for inspiring the practitioners of pure devotional service. Actually, practitioners of pure devotional service should not get attracted to such goals. Our only inspiration to practice Ekadashi is that Ekadashi Devi will bless us with abundant devotion towards Krishna. There is no other reason for us to practice Ekadashi. So therefore, Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori. So therefore, we need not keep texting each other, forwarding these WhatsApp messages. Oh, you do this Ekadashi, you will get a child, and you will get this, and you will get that. True, that is for people with mixed desires, practicing mixed devotional service, that may be relevant. But for practitioners of pure devotional service, aspiring to please Krishna through one's devotional endeavors, they should understand that the only reason that we practice Ekadashi is because it pleases Krishna, and it increases our devotion because it pleases Krishna. So therefore, even though this verse also indicates 3 different benefits of Ekadashi, only one benefit is relevant for practitioners of pure devotional service, that is Govinda Smaranam. Govinda Smaranam means a very favorable remembrance of Krishna one can get by properly following the Ekadashi, Janmashtami and other such days which are very dear to the Supreme Lord. So then this is the 9th limb of devotional service. The 10th limb is Dhatri Ashwattadi Gauravam. Dhatri Ashwattadi Gauravam means there are certain plants and trees which are very dear to Krishna also. One has to treat them with great respect. So he quotes a verse from the Skanda Puran. Ashwattat tulasi datri gobhumi sura vaishnavaha pujita prana tadhyata kshapayanti nrinam agham. Nrinam agham kshapayanti. Human beings can destroy all their sins. How? Pujitaha, by worshipping. Pranataha, by respecting. Dhyataha, by meditating upon. Upon what? Ashwatta. Ashwatta means a peepal tree. As Krishna says, Ashwattamenam suviroda moolam asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Like that. Tulasi, we all know Tulasi is very dear to Krishna. So we respect her and we worship her. We offer prayers to her. Hmm? And Dhatri refers to an Amalaki tree. An Amalaki tree is also very dear to Krishna for various reasons. Go, the cow, Bhumi, the earth, Sura, Brahmana, and the Vaishnava. So, one can just by remembering them favorably, by worshipping them and respecting these personalities, one can destroy unlimited sins, says Skanda Purana. But of course, this is for the all the 64 limbs, even though various verses are quoted from different Puranas and they promise different results, some of which may not, some of which may be material results only, but we should understand consistently throughout. I will not repeat this thing again and again, but one should understand that by practicing any of this limb, a practitioner of pure devotional service will only progress faster on the path of pure devotion, will come one step closer to the lotus feet of Krishna, will progress swiftly towards the goal of Krishna Prema, and nothing less than that. Even though the verse itself is promising other such things, it is for other practitioners to attract them. But for devotees, it will only enhance their progress in devotional service and nothing less than that. So one need not fear reading such verses. So now one might wonder, why is an Ashwatha tree glorious? Srila Jiva Goswami says, the Ashwatha tree is worthy of worship because it is a vibhuti of the Lord. Krishna says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that of all the trees I am the Ashwatha trees, like that. So in that way, Ashwatha tree is a vibhuti of the Supreme Lord, therefore it's worshipable. And then because the Lord has descended on earth as the benefactor and friend of the cows and the Brahmanas, they also should be worshipped by the devotees. Go Brahmana Hitaya cha. So therefore the Supreme Lord is very benevolently disposed towards the cows and the Brahmanas, therefore they are also worshipable. All those other items are mentioned along with Tulsi and the Vaishnava to remove doubt about worshipping them. Because one might naturally know, see, of these 6 items which were mentioned, Ashwatha, Tulasi, Datri, Go, Sura, Bhumi, Sura, Ish, Vaishnava. So these 6 things are mentioned, of which 2 are very obvious for Vaishnavas. Tulasi we worship, Vaishnavas we respect and worship. But the other 4 are mentioned along with Tulasi and Vaishnava to indicate that don't doubt if they are worshipable or not, they are also similarly worshipable. What are the other 4? The Ashwatha tree, the Amalaki tree, the Brahmanas, and Ashwatha tree, Amalaki tree, the Brahmanas, and the cows. These are also similarly worshipable, like that. Among the other items, the worship of cow bestows the ultimate goal for the worshippers of Krishna. Apart from worshipping Tulsi Devi and the Vaishnavas, amongst the other 4 items, worship of Gomata is considered to be most auspicious, like that. So in this way, the 10th limb is Dhatri Ashwattadi Gauravam, respecting other trees and other such things which are very close to Krishna, very dear to Krishna. Now we move on to the next section. So this brings us to the end of the first 10. The first 10 are do's. One has to do them. So which means one can never be disrespectful towards these items. One can never be neglectful towards following the Ekadashi Vrata and fasting on Janmashtami and other such days. One can never consciously choose to live a very not wealthy, but a very grand life, just trying to enjoy all the time. One must accept whatever is minimally needed to keep one's bhakti going. So this is a non-negotiable limb. The first 20 are non-negotiable. Is it like, let me live life king size and I will also practice devotional service? You know, I will practice devotional service also king size. How? I will get big beads of tulsi and I will put the tulsi in a gold casing and in a silver thread, and royal chanting, I will chant like that. One can do that if performed in the right mood of honoring Tulsi Devi, then it is fine. But the point is, one should accept whatever is minimally needed so that one can spend maximum time in Krishna conscious activities. So this is a non-negotiable limb. And also, at least if one should develop a desire to live in the holy dham. If not live there physically, at least mentally one should try to live there, or at least visit them regularly. That is a very non-negotiable limb. And then bhogadi tyaga krishnasya hetave. One should be willingly give up the opportunity for sense gratification so that time, energy, resources, everything can be utilized in Krishna's service. See, all these 10 limbs one may not be able to immediately practice, but one should be immediately convinced that they need to practice. That is the symptom of faith in Krishna consciousness. That is a symptom that we are qualified to practice this path. Otherwise, if we are not even convinced that they need to be practiced, then it's very difficult. Then probably we are not yet qualified for practicing the path of pure devotional service. And also, sadharma pracha. One should not be pestering the spiritual master, asking him for how I can improve my material life, how I can remove my suffering. One should be eager to hear from him how one can improve on the path of devotional service. Sadharma pracha. And also one should be very eager to follow in the footsteps of the sadhus and the scriptures that they have followed. And one should be willing to serve the Guru in whatever capacity they can, with great respect and affection. And one should definitely be convinced of taking Diksha and Siksha from the Guru, and one should definitely accept the shelter of the lotus feet of a Guru. So these 10 items which we have discussed till now are absolutely non-negotiable limbs. They cannot be negotiated. They have to be followed. At least one should be convinced that he needs to follow these limbs. Now we move on to the next 10, which are also non-negotiable, meaning one should be convinced that I need to practice them. So basically these things will have to get into our value system. Value system means that which defines what is right and what is wrong. So we have seen the 10 things which are most right and have to be done. Now we are going to read about the 10 most wrong things which have to be avoided. So these 10 are also non-negotiable. One should, it does not matter how much one is following, but it really matters how much one is convinced that he needs to follow and is endeavoring in that direction. The ability to follow comes, it depends on many different things, one's past conditionings and so many other things. But at least the conviction that one needs to follow it sincerely, that faith should be there. So with that understanding, now we are going to see the next 10 limbs. The first of which is a very important limb, but in today's day and age, very difficult to follow limb also. So, Sangatyago vidurena bhagavad vimukair janaihi, or Shri Krishna Vimukha Jana Sangha Tyagaha. Giving up the association of those opposed to Krishna. This is very difficult in today's day and age. So he quotes a verse from the Katyayana Samhita. So these are all some Vaishnava literatures about, and our acharyas were very well read in all these literatures. So we may have read many literatures, but we don't remember any verse from there. But not only, but of course, considering even that, we can't even remember the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. And here are acharyas who can quote from Katyayana Samhita. Most of us might be hearing about this name for the first time. We didn't even know that such a literature existed. But our acharyas had studied them, and they are able to quote relevant verses to support the point from these verses. And these were the days when there was no Google, when there was no paper even, what to speak of internet and Google and folio search and all these things. None of these things were there. It was all palm leaves only. So in such a day and age, can you imagine the kind of memory that these acharyas had? Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Sadharma Samsthapakau Lokanam Hitakarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakarau. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau. They were absolute experts in understanding the scriptures in the right light, for the purpose of Sadharma Samsthapakau, for the purpose of establishing the bhakti. So therefore, so here he is quoting from this Katyayana Samhita. Varam hutavaha jwala panjarantar vyavastitihi na shauri chinta vimukha jana samvasa vaishasam. Very powerful verse, harsh verse. He says, Varam. Varam means it is better. It is better to do what? Panjarantar vyavastitihi. Panjara means a cage. Panjara antaha vyavastitihi means to be situated within a cage. It is better to be situated within a cage. Hutavaha jwala. And not only a cage, to stay inside a cage in itself is very inconvenient and very difficult. But what if around that cage there is blazing fire, which means literally death? So this is a very poetic way of telling it is better to die than Vaishasam, than to have the misfortune of Jana Samvasa, of association with persons, Shauri Chinta Vimukha, who are opposed to think, meditate, who are opposed to remembering Shauri. Shauri means the real hero, that is Krishna. So it is preferable to die than to have the misfortune of living in association of persons who are opposed to thinking of Krishna, because this will literally kill our spiritual life. We have discussed about this before, but because this is one of the most important things. How much important? Rupa Goswami compiled Nectar of Instructions, only 11 crisp verses to take a person from materialistic consciousness till Krishna Prem. Love for Krishna in Vrindavan. So, in which only 11 verses, of even within that 11 verses, the 3 verses are glorifying Govardhan, Radha Kund, like that. So, only 8 verses. In 8 verses, you have to take a person from material consciousness to Krishna Prem, which means there is every syllable is valuable. you can't afford to be redundant. There is no scope for redundance. But still, Srila Rupa Goswami, in the second verse of Nectar of Instruction, about 6 things which are unfavorable for bhakti, he says, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasanga. Janasangascha laulyam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. So Janasanga refers to association of non-Krishna conscious persons. And then in the 6 favorable items, he says, Utsahan nischayat dhairyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vritte. In the 6 don'ts, he says, giving up the association of non-devotees. So therefore, this is a clear redundancy here. You see, 2 times. And especially in such a literature, with in only 8 verses he is taking us towards Krishna Prema. How could he afford to be redundant? Actually, this is not redundance, but this is absolute emphasis. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Asatsanga Tyaga Ei Vaishnava Achar. The real mark of a Vaishnava is how convinced he is of giving up non-devotional association, and how sincerely he is endeavoring to give up non-devotional association. This is most important. Therefore, here Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting this verse where it is mentioned, better to die than to have the misfortune of living with non-devotees. So, what is the meaning of Asat Sangha? The meaning of Asat Sangha, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his book Bhaktyaloka. He says, that means that devotees should not engage in the activities mentioned in the 4th verse of the Upadeshamrit with worldly people. Sangha means association. Sangha means we meet so many people, but we get influenced by very few people. And we try to emulate still very few people. So who are the people with whom we would, about whom we would, we would get influenced, and who are those people whom we would try to emulate? Srila Rupa Goswami says, very simple. Those people with whom you have these 6 exchanges, dadati, pratigranati, guhyamakyati pruchati, bhunkte bhojayate cheva shadvidam priti lakshanam. So, these 6 exchanges when you have with whomever, over a period of time, a genuine affection will develop with that person, and that affection, when it is present in that person, he will start influencing you. And then over a period of time, we may even start to emulate that person. So therefore, he says, Sangha means that association which is capable of influencing our life, influencing our lifestyle, influencing our goal of life, and influencing how we are going to approach that goal. All of that will change if we have based on Sangha. So Sangha means when there is an affectionate relationship. So he says that activities like talking with worldly people in the course of one's work, because one may say, Prabhu, 8 hours a day I have to sit in my office. None of them are devotees. So 8 hours of Asat Sangha, na? No. So he says Asat Sangha means when you are having these 6 exchanges, we can have these 6 exchanges, at least the first 2 and last 2 exchanges with our office colleagues, with a desire to make them favorable towards Krishna consciousness. But in doing that, we should not become very favorable towards their goal of life and their lifestyle. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that working devotees need not worry about having to deal with all their colleagues and other such clients and everyone, because as long as these 6 exchanges are not there, it is not considered as Sangha and it will not have an influence on our life. So now if you accept the same definition of Sangha from Jana Sangha to Sadhu Sangha, what is considered as Sadhu Sangha? Sadhu Sangha means where there is Preeti for the sadhu. And Preeti means Preeti Lakshanam has to be there. What are the Preeti Lakshanas? These 6. Dadati Pratigrinnati Guhyamakyati Pruchati Bhungte Bhojete Chaiva. So if these 6 Preeti Lakshanas are not there, then even though we may be living with devotees, it is not considered as Sadhu Sangha. And such an association will not influence our heart. So therefore, we have to be very clear as to what is the meaning of Asat Sangha and what is the meaning of Sadhu Sangha. We can understand by the meaning of Sangha. Sangha means Preeti Lakshanam, affection and symptoms of affection, activities that reinforce that affection. So one should carefully have these 6 exchanges with the devotees and one should carefully avoid these 6 exchanges with non-devotees. Then one is safe. Now, the scriptures constantly glorify Vaishnava's association. So unless we all need Sangha. That is the nature of Jiva, is to love and to be loved. And that act of loving and being loved is exemplified by this word Sangha, which indicates the 6 symptoms of affection. So every living entity wants to feel loved and he wants to love someone. So therefore, unless we are convinced that the Vaishnavas are the worthy objects of our love, and a Vaishnava's love can transform our heart and help us progress towards our goal, we will not take Vaishnava Sangha seriously. And if Vaishnava Sangha is not taken seriously, then the only other option we have is Asat Sangha. Therefore, Bhagavatam says, Satsangad Mukta Dussango Hatum Notsahate Buddha Kirtyamanam Yashoyasya Sakrid Akarnya Rochanam Tasmin Nyasta Buddha Partaha Saheran Viraham Katam Darshana Sparsha Samlapa Shayanasana Bojanaihi. Bhagavatam says, Satsangad Mukta Dussango. One can become mukta or free from unwanted association only if we have satsanga, which means only if we have affectionate friends within the Vaishnava circle whose association is seriously affecting our life, seriously affecting our day-to-day choices, seriously affecting our lifestyle. If we do not have that affectionate relationship with devotees, we cannot become mukta dussanga, we cannot become free from unwanted association. So therefore, we have to hear about the glories of Vaishnava association, only then we will get the impetus to invest in developing Vaishnava association. So what are the glories of Vaishnava association? Bhagavatam is filled with thousands of verses. We are not going to get into all of that, but a few verses. One prominent verse is from the Adi Puran, where Krishna tells Arjuna, Ye me bhakta jana partha, na me bhaktasta te jana, mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas te me bhakta tamo mata. So Krishna says that, O Arjuna, if you see someone who says, I am a devotee of Krishna, don't take him seriously. He is not a very high quality devotee. One who says, Mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktaha, I am a devotee of Krishna's devotee. Teme bhakta tamamata. In my opinion, in my eyes, I consider that person to be the most exalted of all devotees. That is why the greatest of all Vaishnavas they present this. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayor Dasa Dasa Dasanu Dasa. That is the understanding of a Vaishnava. You know, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis, Krishna. And Srila Kulashekara, King Kulashekara also, he presents in his Mukunda Mala Stotra very beautifully. Tvad Britya Britya Paricharaka Britya Britya Brityasya Britya Itimam Smaralokanat. He says, my dear Lord, what is my designation? How can you identify me? Consider me as Tvad Britya Britya Paricharaka Britya Britya Brityasya Britya Itimam Smaralokanata. Consider me as the servant of 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 your lotus feet. So this is Krishna's point of view. So such devotees have actually understood the heart of Krishna, where Krishna is revealing his heart here to Arjuna, that one who says that I am Krishna's devotee, I don't consider him as a very high quality devotee. The real devotee is one who considers himself as the servant of my devotee. He is my real devotee. Like that. Another verse from the Adi Puran, he says, Darshana Sparshana Alapa Saha Vasadibik Kshanat Bhaktaha Punanti Krishnasya Sakshad Apicha Pukkasham. Very beautiful verse. He says, Pukkasham api, even an outcast, Chandala, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha, Abira Shumba, Yavanaha, Kasadaya, all these kinds of outcasts, Punanti, they become purified, completely purified. How? Darshana. If they take darshan of a devotee. Sparshana, if they get an opportunity to touch a devotee. Alapa, if they get an opportunity of conversing with a devotee. Sahavasa, if he gets an opportunity to live with a devotee. Kshanat, even for a moment, if one, if he get an opportunity to do any of these things with a devotee, he can become immediately purified. Tulayama lavenapi naswargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutasishah. He says that tulayama lavenapi, even one lava is probably like 1/8 of a second. Na swargam na punarbhavam. Neither swarga nor even liberation can be compared to 1/8 of a second's association with a devotee. Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya. So in that commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti writes, actually Yoshit Sangha is very contaminating. Association with the opposite sex. He says more contaminating compared to the opposite sexes, Bhagavat Yoshitam Sangi Sangha. The association of a womanizer is still more detrimental. It immediately contaminates a person. So just like Yoshitam Sangi Sangha is more contaminating than Yoshit Sangha, similarly Bhagavat Sangi Sangha is more purifying than Bhagavat Sangha. More purifying than the association of Krishna is the association of Krishna's devotees. Therefore, literally in throughout Bhagavatam, whether it may be Prahlad Maharaj or Prithu Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj, they all got darshan of the Supreme Lord, and then the Lord said, ask for a benediction. What other benediction they can have, they can ask for. They already have the association of the Supreme Lord, but invariably all of them ask for association of devotees, which means they value it more than the association of the Supreme Lord. Because it is mentioned that to even to relish the association of Supreme Lord is incomplete without the association of devotees. So, of course, the Supreme Lord is all complete. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. It is true, the Supreme Lord is all complete, but still on the platform of rasa, on the platform of experience, one cannot, even relishing the association of the Supreme Lord is incomplete without the association of devotees. This is not to demean or belittle the association of the Supreme Lord, but this is to understand the true glory of the association of devotees. And Prahlad Maharaj himself says, Naisham matistavadurukkramangrim sprishatyanartapagamo yadartaha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam navrinita yavat. So he says, Yavad matihi, as long as one's intelligence navrinita, does not accept padarajobhishekam, the dust from the feet of mahiyasam, great devotees. Which kind of great devotees? Nishkinchananam, who have no other desire other than the desire to please Krishna. As long as one does not bathe in the dust, one's intelligence does not bathe. So he is telling Yavad Matihi. What is the meaning of intelligence? Intelligence means discrimination. Discrimination means what is right, what is wrong, what is valuable, what is worthless. As long as one's intelligence is not convinced that the only worthy thing in this material world is association of Vaishnavas, as long as one's intelligence is not convinced, yesham matihi na sprishati tavad urukramangrim, that intelligence can never come close to the lotus feet of Krishna. So, it is not possible unless one appreciates a Vaishnava, one can never appreciate Krishna properly. In fact, that kind of attraction to Krishna is considered to be laukiki shraddha or sentimental faith. That is why about a Prakrita Bhakta, Bhagavatam says, Archayam eva haraye pujam yash shraddaye hate natad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smritaha. One may worship the deity with lot of faith. Pujamya shraddayate, with lot of faith they may worship the deity form. Natad bhakteshu chanyeshu, but if he does not have a respectful attitude towards the devotees especially and also other living entities, sabhakta prakrita smrita, he is called a materialistic devotee. Such a person is not considered as a true devotee at all. So, what is this Asat Sangha and what constitutes Asat Sangha? This we have to know. Otherwise, it is only a theoretical thing. Asat Sangha. What is this Asat Sangha? So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Bhakti Aloka, he says there are 7 classes of Asat Sangha. Mayavadis and atheists, they are the first category. Sense enjoyers are the second category. Those who are fond of sense enjoyment, they are third category. Fourth are women for men and men for women. And the fifth is womanizers. And sixth are the hypocritically devout. And the seventh are the ill-behaved foolish outcasts. Of course, it's a very big topic, we will not get into it, but just for our information. And of course, we have to understand that all these 7 are available in social media. We don't have to search elsewhere, it's all there in our pocket only. So we have to be careful as to, even if we may have to spend time on the internet, what are we browsing, what are we reading, what are we connecting ourselves to? because we should not underestimate the potency of all these various kinds of people who may be posing themselves to be very learned or very charismatic or very pious, and they may attract our attention and eventually end up contaminating our heart. So, in today's age of um, mass distraction through the social media, television, newspapers and all these things, it's very, very difficult. One has to be very, very cautious and careful. Otherwise, we will end up postponing our journey back home, back to Godhead by probably lifetimes. So, it's not really worth it. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrit, there was one very nice devotee whose name was Bhagavan Acharya. So, this Bhagavan Acharya had a brother whose name was Gopal Bhattacharya. So, this Gopal Bhattacharya, he went to Varanasi to learn Vedanta Sutra. So, Vedanta study. But somehow he got into association of Mayavadis and through them his heart got contaminated. So, after his studies, when this Gopal Bhattacharya came back to Puri, so Bhagavan Acharya, who was a very simple devotee but very sincere devotee, he took him to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually not very happy to see Gopal Bhattacharya because he was a Mayavadi Krishna Aparadi. So, but still externally he showed that he was pleased. He didn't want to hurt Bhagavan Acharya, who was a sincere devotee. So, next time Bhagavan Acharya thought that really Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was pleased, and he said, okay Gopal, get ready, I will take you to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can explain to him what you have learnt about the Vedanta. Gopal Bhattacharya became very enthusiastic. So, but you can't directly go and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without going through Swarup Damodar Goswami. So, Swarup Damodar Goswami this time becomes, he exactly understood the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This time he chastises Bhagavan Acharya. He says, Buddhi Brashta Haila Tomar Gopalera Sange Mayavada Shunibare Upajila Range Vaishnavahaya Yeba Shariraka Bhashya Shune Sevya Sevaka Bhava Chadi Apanare Ishvara Mane. He says, Buddhi Brashta Haila Tomar Gopalera Sange. Oh Bhagavan Acharya, you have lost your intelligence in the association of your brother Gopal. Mayavada Shunibare Upajila Range. He says that is why you are very eager to hear about the Mayavada Bhashya written by the Mayavadi Shankaracharya. That's why you are so eager not only to hear about this Vedanta, but you want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear about this. Vaishnavahaya Yeba Shariraka Bhashya Shune. Do you know what you are doing? You are a Vaishnava. And if a Vaishnava hears these Mayavadi explanations written in the Shariraka Bhashya, Sevya Sevaka Bhavachadi Apanara Ishwaramane. At the end of it, you will give up your Dasya Bhav. You will give up your attitude of being a servant of the Lord, and you will think you are the Lord Himself. So, in today's day and age, Mayavad does not exist in the form of Shariraka Bhashya. Not many people study Shariraka Bhashya and all those things. But it comes in various different ways in the form of many, many other organizations, presenting various different philosophies which may not be very compatible with the Vaishnava understanding. So, unless one is chaste to one's parampara, in this day and age, there is ample opportunity to get distracted through many non-devotional ideologies. So one has to be very, very careful. So therefore chastity to one's parampara is very absolutely essential. So here we should, in the name of being broad minded, one should not keep searching elsewhere. We have to be broad minded in our preaching. Whoever comes, we should try to give them Krishna consciousness. That is where we have to show our broad mindedness. In the name of being broad minded, we should not become unchaste to our parampara by searching elsewhere. Then we will end up contaminating the faith, a particular kind of faith which comes only through our parampara's teachings. Therefore, this is very, very important. So, this is about association of Mayavadis. And about association of sense enjoyers and those fond of sense enjoyment. Again, a beautiful section of Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, where we all know this story of Raghunath Das Goswami ran away from his home in order to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. And after trying hard, the parents of Raghunath Das Goswami understood that okay, it is not possible to convince Raghunath to come back, but at least let him have a very happy, comfortable life while living in Puri. So they used to send some servants along with some money so that Raghunath Das Goswami could live happily. But Raghunath Das Goswami used to use all that money to cook a feast for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other Vaishnavas. And he used to regularly invite them. And after some time, Raghunath Das Goswami stopped inviting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other Vaishnavas for such feasts. On one particular day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Swarup Damodar Goswami, why is your Raghunath not inviting me anymore for the feast? And Raghunath Das Goswami said that, and Swarup Damodar Goswami said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he is feeling that how can he continue to accept money from materialists and feed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very pleased and then he spoke these two verses. He said, Vishaira na khaile malina haiman, malina mana haile na hen Krishnera smaran. He says, Vishaira anna khaile malina haiman. If one eats the food which has been cooked by materialists or which has been cooked using the money taken from materialists, and if one eats malina hayaman, one's heart becomes impure. Malina mana haile nahe Krishnera smaran. And what is the proof that our heart has been contaminated? We can no longer think about Krishna favorably. So favorable thinking of Krishna is impossible if we are continuing to eat food either cooked by materialists or purchased from money taken from materialists. So we have to be very careful. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased and then he spoke this verse. And then he says in the next verse, Vishaira annahai rajasa nimantran data bhokta duhara malina. Data bhokta duhara malina hayaman. He says, Vishaira annahai rajasa nimantran. Through honoring or through eating food cooked by materialists, you are giving nimantran, you are giving a red carpet welcome to Rajogun. Rajogun means what? Lust, anger, envy, greed, illusion, pride. Rajogun brings with it Tamogun also. So Vishaira annahai rajasa nimantran. Data bhokta duhara malina hayaman. The giver and the person who is eating, both consciousness becomes completely contaminated. So therefore, a very important principle Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is presenting. Of course, he is presenting a very high standard, but at least at our stage, we can be conscious of eating only Krishna Prasad. Prabhupada has emphasized it so many times. We can't, we can't become loose in this practice that, okay, it's just chips. There is no animal product here. True, there is no animal product. Animal product may be there also, we do not know. But the point is, it has not been cooked by devotees, and it is not lovingly offered to the Supreme Lord. So therefore, we may think that okay, I have purchased it, I will offer it to Krishna and eat. I mean, the essence has been presented. Now, one can choose what level one can practice actually. It is up to every individual, but the consequences have been presented by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vishaira anna kaile malina haya man, malina mana haya nahe Krishna smaran. It was not that, it was actually Raghunath Das Goswami who was personally cooking it. He was personally offering it to the Supreme Lord. Still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered it Vishaira anna. Then what is the standard? So if we are not able to practice that standard, at least we should cook ourselves and offer to the Supreme Lord, even though we may not be on the level of Raghunath Das Goswami, but nevertheless, at least we are cooking ourselves, offering it to the Supreme Lord, and then honoring that prasadam. So this we have to be very careful. Then, association of opposite sex and womanizers. Bhagavatam, Kapildev tells Mother Devahuti, Natatasya bhavenmoho bandhaschanya prasangatah yoshit sangadyata pumso yata tatsangi sangatah. He says, see, there are many kinds of non-Krishna conscious association, but he says, na tata asya bhaved moho. Man's bondage and bewilderment, bandhascha anya prasangatah, na tata bhavet anya prasangatah. It is not so prominent because of his attachment with other things, and yoshit sangad yata pumso yata tatsangi sangatah. So a person's consciousness does not get polluted so much by associating with other things as much as it is due to association with women and to his association with men who associate with women. Tat sangi sangata. Why? Because association with other things is one-sided. The person may get attached to a particular thing, but the thing is not attached to the person because the thing is inanimate. Whereas when it comes to association with people, especially association between opposite sex in the mode of mutual enjoyment, then it is a two-sided attachment. That is why Rishabdev says in his instructions to his sons that Tayor mito hridaya granti mahoho, he says. Mito hridaya granti. Ato grahakshetra sutapta vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti, he says. Mito hridaya granti. Mito hridaya granti means dual knot. So dual knot means you may cut it from your side, but if the other person is not cutting from his or her side, then the knot is as good as intact. It is not cut yet. So therefore, this attachment between men and women, especially illicit or illegal, is very, very strong, and the potency of such an association to contaminate is much more compared to one's association with other objects, because with other objects it's a unidirectional attachment, but with opposite sex it is a bidirectional attachment, and especially if that association is outside the vows of one's marriage, then it is extremely contaminating. So one has to be very careful. Then association of hypocritically devout, hypocrites, those who have something inside but those who show something outside, something else outside. So association with such hypocritically devout, dharma dvajis. So how this episode comes again in the Antya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrit, where Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is on his way to Jagannath Puri to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and on his way he meets a very wonderful devotee of Lord Ram called Ramdas Vishwas. So Ramdas Vishwas becomes so attracted to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami that he is willing to carry the bags of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and walk all the way till Jagannath Puri and to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And constantly is chanting the holy names of Lord Ram, 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 like that. And Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is very impressed by this person. And then they go to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at that point of time, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is narrating this episode. Ashtaprahara Rama Nama Japena Ratri Dine Sarvatyaji Chalila Jagannatha Darashane. Ashtaprahara Rama Nama Japena Ratri Dine. Ashtaprahara means one prahara is 3 hours. So Ashtaprahara is 24 hours. So this Ramdas Vishwas, Ashtaprahara Ramanama Japena Ratri Dine. Day and night, 24 hours he was chanting Ram Nam. Sarvatyaji, and he had renounced everything. Chalila Jagannatha Darshane. So immediately he went with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami to take darshan of Jagannath ji in Puri. Ramadasa yadi pratama prabhu re milila, Mahaprabhu adhika tare kripa na karila. Ramdasa yadi pratama prabhure milila. When Ramdas Vishwas first met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu adhika tare kripa na karila, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu avoided him. He did not show any mercy upon him. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Antaryami within everyone's heart. He understood. Antare mumukshu teho vidya garvavan sarva chitta gyata prabhu sarvagya bhagavan. Antare mumukshu teho vidyara garvavan. And inside he actually had no attraction to Lord Ram. He actually wanted to get liberation, and liberation according to him was he wanted to become Ram by chanting Lord Ram's name. Vidya Garvavan, and on top of that he was very proud of his learning. Sarva Chitta Gyata Prabhu, and because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the Supreme Lord is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, he exactly understood this. Sarvagya Bhagavan. So this all-knowing, omniscient Supreme Lord understood what was within the heart of this Ramdas Vishwas, and therefore he neglected it. And eventually he taught a very valuable lesson to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and through Raghunath Bhatta Goswami to all of us. One should be very careful to see whom one is associating with. One cannot go just by the externals. One should see if his practice is well grounded in the proper Shastric understanding which is coming in the Parampara. Otherwise, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpata Eva Kalpate. Because such a practice of bhakti will create great disturbance to that person and to the whole Vaishnava community. So in this way, we come to the, we have completed the 11th limb of devotional service, which is giving up the association of non-Vaishnavas. Sangatyago vidurena bhagavad vimukair janaihi. So thank you very much for your patient listening. Hoping to have your association tomorrow also. So when we will continue from the 12th limb onwards, and we will cover a few limbs tomorrow also. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.